Welcome to the Wiggly Podcast, and we're in the Wiggly Garden, and you won't believe who's come round today.
Yeah, I came round on Sunday.
Yes, you
Tonight,
did.
didn't I see you on Sunday?
Yes.
And I came round, and then I heard Rich, round here. So round the wall I came, and there was Heather in amongst the raised beds, hidden amongst the buddleia, which is slightly taller than you now.
Is that
in
what
fact,
it
isn't it? And you were planting your runner beans.
I was.
It's all going well, isn't it? I mean, the garden's looking great. I mean, you haven't had any help in the garden this year as yet.
None.
And it's all looking surprisingly lush.
Yes, we're going to see my peach tree.
Haven't things changed? That was the thing that struck me on Sunday, this amazing peach tree. How long ago was this put in, this
I
peach
think
tree?
Hannah planted this a couple of years ago. Last year, we had about 20 of the most delicious peaches you've ever tasted.
I can imagine, yeah.
And this year, when I got to the greenhouse, because, you know, I don't come out in the cold and the rain.
Yeah.
Ever since I went draining, I always said I will never do anything for pleasure
That was
in
a
the
long time
rain.
ago, isn't it?
Yeah, I got too
many
wet
years
and
ago.
cold.
Yeah.
So anyway, by the time I got here, the whole greenhouse was full of this tree, and it flew out of the top of the greenhouse, and all the branches were bent over here.
Right.
So I chopped, Farmville helped me chop the tall ones.
Yeah.
And I chopped the little ones. And then I realised, or I thought, that there was probably too many peaches on the branches. So I tweeted, what should I do? And I got all this advice back, which was to rub out loads of the fruit.
Little immature. So essentially taking out
So I've taken
a few of the unnecessary ones, the stunted ones. I mean, it is laden now. I mean, it's probably a kind of pair of peaches every 3 or 4 inches, something like that?
Well, I reckon I've taken out at least 300.
Right.
So whether it's enough or not, I don't know. But, it looks so promising.
It does. It's amazing. This incredibly vigorous tree, this. I mean, it went in. I remember it going in because I was here kind of on a full-time basis. Then it was a couple of foot off the ground. And now it's covered a space that's probably, 15 square metres or something like that. Maybe it's not exaggeration, but it's an enormous tree. And it's obviously a really good variety. Any idea what variety it is? I mean, I wouldn't know from Adam one peach variety to the next. But
yes, it's a peachy peach.
Peachy peach, yeah, obviously lends itself to this space. But you're right, I mean, there is nothing like a sweet peach picked fresh from a tree. It's nothing like anything you'll ever buy in a shop, is it?
Absolutely not. And I've discovered things this year because I've been at it myself. I've discovered the joy of strolch.
Right.
Because I know it's Borton.
Borton?
You know, you have to buy it. And
okay.
I mean, I've got all my own compost and I've used that, Rich.
Borton, yeah.
Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word.
It's a heavism.
I think it is it. Borton. My mum used to say things are Borton or Popper.
Oh, yeah.
You know, either you grow them or they're Borton.
Right.
But anyway, I know it's Borton, but you know what I love about it? It's so light.
Yeah.
So I can move around. I know that's a lazy gardener.
The sacks are quite large, aren't they, really? Yeah.
And the great thing is, I've tested it, and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't blow away. Because I thought, oh no, I'm going to put it on, and it'll go whoosh.
It's still going to whiz off, yeah.
Do you think that's relevant?
And it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Well, it would be a shame if you mulched something and it did take off.
Exactly.
Because you've lost all your mulch then.
But I mean, maybe that's not a worry in other people's minds. But I imagined it would fly away, but it didn't.
There's a bit of field testing there.
But the only thing is about strolch, chickens love it.
Oh, I can well imagine, yeah.
They absolutely love it.
Scratching heaven.
Yeah, unfortunately, I planted my herbs at the front and they got them in the strolch and dug the whole lot up before I could get to water them in the evening.
Oh, what a shame.
Look at this, Rich. I've got a cunning plan for my sage. So out we go to the raised beds.
That's cracky days. Weather's forecast is brilliant as well this week, isn't it? And that bit of summer rain we had yesterday
yes.
will make all this stuff go bananas now,
Farmer
I think.
Phil got up and said, soft, refreshing.
I can well imagine,
Phil.
yeah.
So look, here is my cunning plan for my sage.
Oh, look at those little beauties.
See?
There they are.
So these are these metal wire cloches. They're like woven wire, aren't they?
They're a kind of, they're almost antique looking, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are a kind of
vintage.
Vintage, right?
That'll sell them better, Rich.
That's right. Well, they're almost like a wire mesh tea cosy.
Exactly.
It's just superb. So nicely protected from the ravages of the chooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are lovely little cloches, aren't
They're
they?
lovely little cloches. So they're all right under there, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're happy as Larry, I think. I mean, once that takes a hold, that'll grow like billio. And I mean, in a couple of years, this whole space will be inundated with tumbling sage over the sides of the raised beds, which will be good. So essentially, that will be used to stuff the critters that are currently attempting to scratch out of the ground.
Why?
Well, you'll be using that for your paxo, won't you?
Of course it is. That'll happen. It's like
really
the
good.
ultimate insult for them. And that's what I've protected from them. Ready to stuff them. Well, I was thinking it would be brilliant in the Wiggly bouquets, but that doesn't matter.
Well, equally, yeah. Okay, so the beanies. No, of course, the last time these sticks were going in, so I commend you on your bean sticking. That all looks rather good. And they're pretty robust runners, so they'll go off like mad now, especially with this sprinkling of rain. I tell you a really good idea to do, I always do with all the beans now, is when I mow the grass, or at least trim the grass, I haven't got a mower, because there's quite a lot of tracts of lawn here. When you mow the grass, just cover this whole bed in the grass cuttings.
Won't it burn
just
them?
just keep the moisture in the ground.
Oh, okay.
Because runners are especially susceptible to droughts and dry conditions. So yeah, that'll just keep the moisture in the ground, and it cuts out the middleman so far as composting is concerned.
Yeah, and the thing is, I read that beans and tomatoes like warm soil, and because the soil's taken such a long time to warm up, it'll be fine to mulch it now.
I think you're absolutely right, yeah. So you're planning to get your strolch on there now as well then, maybe?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
You and I are going to make a video of that.
Are we?
We are.
Okay. Well, that shouldn't be too challenging. Who's going to split the bag open?
Well, Rich,
We'll
you're the doer,
we'll think
aren't you?
about that at the
Right.
time.
Now, tell me about this bit, because obviously it's my garden, so I should know, but I think this is the fruit department.
Right. No, this is
Red currants,
definitely the fruit plant. It is a
Gooseberry?
massive currant bush. It's got relatively enormous. It must be a few currant bushes. But you must pick these anyway. I mean, these goosgogs, they're a little bit sharp. Have you tried them?
Well, not yet.
I went down
Is it the moment?
to Terry's a couple of days ago, and he picked some goosgogs for us to try. And I love gooseberries. They're a fantastic thing. There you go.
Not keen. Right.
And they're a bit sharp at the moment. They make your eyes water.
Bloody hell. Eating
I didn't like that very much, son.
Eating fresh from the garden.
Oh, yeah. No, that really makes your mouth water.
Do you know what you can do with them, Rick?
Well, they obviously need a few more weeks yet to build up their sugar quantities, but they're fine. It's a good, healthy goosegog bush. Especially with all this rain on there now. I don't know what these are. These black currants or red currants? They look like black currant bushes. They're
Yes, they do look like the blackcurrant bushes I used to pick and then put the orange squash in the bottom to weigh the buckets down. Sorry, Mr. Snell. Right then, but the exciting news is, from today, we're doing a swappy, aren't we? I'm not going to tell Farmer Phil.
We are doing it. We are doing a swappy. Because I came over and I said, have you had any chicks this year yet? And you told me the sad state of affairs with Mr. Cocker's lockers.
Yeah, Kellogg's.
So Kellogg at the end of his days, and I said, well, I've got some bantams. I've had some really good hatchings this year. I'm on my third set of chicks. The interesting thing about hatching bantams, though, and it's always been the same ever since I was a kid, is that the clutches are dominated by cockerels.
Right.
So out of the 7 chicks from this particular brood, there are only 2 hens. So you've got one of the hens, and of course the cockerels will end up, being feasted on.
But I
think she's about 11 weeks old, this little bird.
Right. Okay, so there's 2 hen houses, and you put the new bantam in the other hen house to where the hens are, Rich.
It's just so that I don't have to open the door into the other hen. So I wasn't entirely sure where you wanted your new addition to the Gorringe household, but obviously it would be better off spending the night where it's going to spend, the rest of its days. I got her in
Are we
here.
going to put her in with the others?
Well, what we'll do is we'll just keep her separate.
Oh, well, I'll let those out then
and
put her in there.
OK, we'll shut her where the birds spend the night. That just means that she'll spend the day in there now and the night in there, put some water and some food in with her, and she can hunker down. And then when you let her out tomorrow morning, she'll be sort of familiar with
Or she can stay in
where
here
she
if
spend
you
the
like.
night.
But that's where she's going to live.
Okay, well we'll probably put her in there then, shall we?
Yeah.
And then that'll be fine. So I've got this. Do you know what this is? This old thing.
Meat safe.
Yeah, it is. It came out of the kitchen in our house when we renovated our place.
Really?
About 6 years ago. So of course it does tends to be used as a chicken carrier.
Very handy. Chicken carrier.
Works well.
Okay, so we got to the second hen house.
Okay.
And
these are good down here, aren't they?
Oh,
they work well,
fantastic.
these chickens. It's all very and all fox-proof as well. You haven't had any
no
foxes
fox
attempting
issues,
to
no badger issues.
get in.
Now,
No,
then the other handy thing is that 2 can get out already. So 2 will have gone off for their early morning what's-it.
Right.
I'm going to clip the other 2's wings because they keep laying the eggs in somewhere else.
Okay.
But here we go.
Well, there's a lot of place to sort of lay, isn't there?
So I've got 1 egg.
Really?
All
Let's
right.
put this little bit. So I suppose what we should do is close this in the entrance.
Yeah.
How do I? There you go. That's relatively simple. So close the entrance. Yeah. It's quite smart. I like the idea of these chicken houses that are on stilts. Off the ground. I mean, it's nice and dry, but aesthetically, it's a cracking coop, isn't it? Really?
I like it because it's easy to clean out because you're up here.
Yeah, that is
It's
true.
a bit dirty.
That is true. It is. That's very true. Right. Okay. There we go. Now this Banty is a bit wild because they're up the top, and I've just kept them in a run, which is essentially the sort of fattening run, because these...
Right. Perhaps you should shut the door.
These birds were destined for... yeah, maybe. But if she decides to fly, she's just going to take off anyway. So she's going to go
Has
miles.
she got a wing clip?
She's only... No, she's only tiny.
I see.
So I'm going to attempt to get her out now by grabbing
right,
her. And she's going to make loads of noise, but don't be unduly...
Oh, wow! Don't kill her, Rich.
Unduly worried about the noise that she
welcome
makes.
home.
There she is, a little Banty.
Lovely thing.
So she's a little light Sussex Bantam.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's essentially a miniature version of your larger hens.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And she'll settle down, but she'll make a fantastic mother. Because Bantams are such good broodies, I think she's about 10 or 11 weeks old. I don't know, it's just in them to sit well. I mean, a Bantam, if it hatches, if it has a failed clutch after sitting on them for 3 weeks, to be perfectly honest, they'll sit again for another 3 weeks to get the next lot out. I've known them do that. Yeah. And you can put anything under them, ducks, guinea fowl, I've hatched turkeys under Bantams, all sorts of things.
So I need to go and get myself some eggs?
Yeah, well, she might go broody towards the end of this year. She'll probably start...
Right, OK.
It's going to be another probably 6-8 weeks before she starts laying, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then... hello, girl. And then, if you're lucky, she might go broody towards the end of the year.
Oh, well, I've got
autumn,
another
so you
cockerel
might get a batch and you get another cockerel.
Yeah.
And and you can pop, and then that'll be the ideal cross. So your larger Sussex will make a really good eating bird.
Yeah.
So, there you go. So she's a lovely little guy, isn't she?
So she will produce me loads of cockerels.
And she'll lay well as well. They're really good layers, but obviously the eggs are quite small.
Yeah.
One Bantam at home, literally, she'll lay 10 eggs and go broody every time. So you've got this kind of little machine that just wants to sit. Some are, obviously better than others, but no, you can pop anything under her. She's big enough to put under 5 big hen eggs, maybe, or 7 or 8 Bantam eggs. I mean, it's not a good idea to try and overstock the eggs under a broody. It's uncomfortable for them, but also some of the eggs get pushed around more, and then consequently they don't get incubated as well as they might.
So if she goes broody, do I need to put her in the other hen house?
When she goes broody, you'll know, because she won't move off the nest.
Yeah.
So what you do, essentially you get your eggs, whichever eggs you want to put, you make a little nest for her in that other nester.
Get
and
some
then
water.
Water and grain outside.
Oh, right.
Some birds will sit and never get off.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, I've never known that. That's just what I've heard.
Old wives' tale.
The reality is that if you put her on around the eggs that you want her to incubate of a night time, and then she'll sit on those then, and in the morning you could just open the run up as you would normally.
Yeah.
She won't come out straight away, but she'll come out at some point during the day and drink and eat and go back and sit on her eggs, and that's just...
And that's okay for the eggs?
That's okay, perfectly okay for the eggs, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, she'll only be off for sort of 5 or 10 minutes at the most. And then the eggs will hatch, between 18 and 21 days. Usually around about 19 days. 19 days is...
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, no, it's a fabulous thing. You never tire of seeing those little yellow guys.
Yeah.
When you lift her up and there's a bunch of half eggshells and a few little tiny pathetic white and yellow chickies, it's a fabulous thing.
Right, so
pop her in then.
And I'll get her some water.
We'll put some... Actually, what we could do is put some water in there now, so we don't have to open it up again.
I'm going to get her some water.
And then That's job's a good one.
I'm just filling it up. There we are. I'll just get some pots of food. Got some mixed corn, grown of course by Farmer Phil. And I've got some Layers mash. Don't know whether she'll be ready for Layers mash. And of course I've got bokashi in it. That helps to stop him smelling and also helps their gut. That's a lovely little bird. I'm going to swap this for some beef with Rich. Don't tell Farmer Phil.
We might as well clip her wings as well, hadn't we? Or one of her wings before we put her in.
So, shall I get the scissors and you can go through clipping her wing?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, so I've got the scissors.
Okay.
Rich, I don't want to...
Yeah, we may as well do this before we pop her in there because what's probably not such a good idea with Banty is that if she gets out and goes broody, she'll end up going broody at the bottom of a hedge somewhere. And,
no.
You'll have like a flock of wild bantams, so you don't kind of want that really. What we'll do is we'll clip her wing to stop her flying because they are so good at flying because they're so light, compared to a normal hen.
So the point of this is we're going to make her wonky.
Make her wonky. So we only cut one wing.
Yeah.
We're just going to trim off some of the primary feathers on the one wing. So
do you want me to hold her and you clip?
No, I can. That's fine. We can do it. I'll come around like that. If I pull her wing out like that, proper wing part, her body part is around about there.
Yeah.
So you want to sort of trim out maybe an inch out
like
from
there.
there. That'll be absolutely great. And just trim out all those.
Here?
All those, yeah, that's great.
You sure?
Yeah, maybe a little bit tighter. Maybe see where my thumb is. Tip of my thumb there.
Oh, I don't want to go too close.
That's it. So, there's no discomfort or anything from this.
No. It's his toenail.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
More?
Yeah. Just trim those off. That's absolutely great.
Can we leave those?
Well, let's take them off now while we're here.
Okay.
And
sorry about this.
she won't mind. It's not going to make any odds to her at all, apart from the fact she won't be able to fly quite as far. So if she tries to take off now, she'll be completely lopsided.
Wonky.
Yeah, she won't go anywhere.
Well done, Rich.
That's it. Well, I've known people though trim both wings.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference then. It just takes a little bit. It's just a bit more effort to get high. So there you go. So she's done and dusted. She's got water and food in here.
Yeah.
So if you man the door.
I'm manning the door.
And then close it pretty much right through, and I'll toss her in, and then shut the door quickly.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
1, 2, go. Hey, she's in. No escape.
I just have a look through here.
So she'll settle down now.
Just to check.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. You'll be able to.
Yeah.
Is she all right?
Absolutely fine. She's gone on the perch.
Good stuff.
Talking of...
So she's got everything she needs for today, and she'll settle down. And you can let her out tomorrow morning as normal, and job's a good one.
Thank you very much. Shall we go and get your beef?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Let's not tell Phil about it.
No, listen. Come on, because while we're talking about nesting birds, I just want to show you the sparrow terrace.
Oh, right, okay.
And the starling box on the way.
Do you know, I went to see the starlings roosting this year up at near 100 House.
Oh, yeah.
There was a massive flock, literally tens of thousands, possibly even hundreds of thousands of birds up there. It was amazing. I went up 2 or 3 times to see them getting together.
And what's the story? Why do they go there?
The reason they roost there, obviously, is because there are pockets of dense coniferous wood and relatively sheltered valleys.
Well, that might be obvious to you, Rich, but it's not obvious to me.
Yeah, well, they used to. Do you remember you used to roost in Hereford years ago, and then they sort of...
Oh,
they
the
were all in
Grandstand
those,
Road,
and then they cut down all the trees, didn't they?
Right.
So all those kind of Leylandii that were there, and then consequently the starlings, moved on. But I suppose they like towns because there's some light, so it's a bit like keeping the landing light on at night, and it's safe, and it's warmer, and that's the thing. I mean, it's an ideal roosting space.
And birds of a feather flock together.
Indeed, they do.
But starlings are very sociable, aren't they?
Really gregarious birds. I think underrated. People moan about them being kind of raucous and scaring other birds off and things. I think that's part of their charm. They're
love them.
Robust and they're cheeky and they're so colourful.
I agree, but they do eat an awful lot of mealworms.
Yeah. It's not so bad here, though, is it? It's not,
But when you see one and in their mouth is stuffed 25 mealworms, you think,
I wonder what it costs. Yeah. What do you suppose it costs to business every year? Keep the mealworms stocked up and
I don't know. I think
must cost a few bob, really, on the quiet.
The thing is, I would never criticise Noel, but the amount of mealworms I see coming out of that door... between our hens and the sparrows and the robin that comes in and the tits and the whatever.
Yeah, they do all right. They all do all right, don't they?
But you can't begrudge them, can you, really?
Well, it's a way of things, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I really do wonder that, the wastage element.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think of Wildflower Meadow?
I think it's lovely. I think that I just never cease to be amazed by the wonderful kind of pink swards of ragged robin. It's done so well in this patch, hasn't it?
Yeah.
When was this done now, this meadow? How many years ago?
I think it was 2002.
Right.
So it's a pretty mature meadow now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think what can happen with ragged robin is even though it might come in the first couple of years, the ground isn't kind of wet through a good proportion of the year, then it disappears. But obviously this space here is perfect for it, and it's done well year on year, hasn't it?
Like, we always worry about this patch because it is wet. If you remember, we put loads of worms in to try and get the soil to drain properly.
Yeah.
But it's still sodden in the winter.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is where that real clump of flowers are is where all the water stays.
Right.
So it must kill a lot of things, I think.
I think it is.
And then those
Probably doesn't really lend itself to grass. Yeah.
No. And those ragged robin come up.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. I remember on open day a few years ago, do you remember this whole path was all swampy?
Yeah.
And in actual fact, we cordoned it off, didn't we? Because it was under
health
water.
And safety.
One of our lovely wet summers.
Yeah, health and safety.
Health and safety, that's right. Didn't want people tramping through the...
Yeah, don't worry, Posh and Clegg are going to sort it.
Are they?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
You're not going to go and see old Nicky Boy at Hay then, because he's there, isn't it? A festival, isn't he?
I suppose he's your hero, isn't he, Cleggy?
Clegg? No, not really. No,
right.
Especially not now he's joined the dark side. I didn't vote for Liberals so they could blow smoke up the...
Yeah, only thing is, I heard you telling me what a good man Jesse Norman was.
Hey, Jesse Norman.
Yes, your local MP.
Seems for a Conservative MP, a relatively good human being, which is surprising. Yeah, I don't know. It's all a mix, isn't it?
Red Campion?
Yeah, red campion this time of year is stunning, and that red campion has done extremely well at the garden at Hay as well. As I noticed that on Sunday, there's an abundance of it. Wonderful. There's a little common blue damselfly there. Look.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of those in the pond. I mean, when we were kind of pond dipping on the open days and things like that, you found tons and tons of those, the larvae, common blue damselfly larvae.
Is it time for them now?
Well, it is. I think
very early June, aren't we?
What's happened is that there was that really slow period where everything was kind of ebbing out of a state of dormancy, wasn't there? Which is good because that cold winter made such a difference. I think kept everything dormant. And now everything's gone bananas, and it looks really healthy. It looks wonderful, and inverts are no exception. They're sort of monopolising on this warmth. Superb. I mean, the beauty of this patch is it's constantly changing, so that's a really important factor in a meadow, is to have, a mix of species that flower right through the season.
I think that is the trouble, though, with selling Wildflower Meadow, is that people expect it to look exactly as it does in the photo.
Yeah.
So I think the picture on your Bugs and Beasts leaflet is of ragged robin or red campion.
Yeah, there's
and so people expect that.
Yeah.
But actually, all different things thrive. I remember the first year, this was just poppies. The second year, it was overriding impression you had of it. Was red, and then oxeye daisy, and now they're not going to be able to take over.
Yeah.
But there's going to be lots of knapweed, I think, isn't there?
There's going to be tons of knapweed, and again, I think knapweed's a fabulous thing, and it's long flowering. It comes out as midsummer really in abundance, and then flowers right through almost until Christmas. I've seen knapweed flowering. I mean, it tends to have gone over in the main by October, but it's there is still a source of late pollen for all sorts of inverts that are likely to tuck themselves away for the winter.
We said you'd say inverts
on
last week's show.
Did you?
Yeah, Farmer Phil said, oh God, he'll be along roaming in the flipping gloaming, talking about inverts. And you have.
Look, you see, that's a common carder that will be there, right? And that's on red clover. I mean, red clover is definitely a plant that people don't tend to think of something that they need in a pasture, but it is it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, you look at those little round bulks of kind of lavender-coloured flowers.
They're gorgeous.
They are.
My dad was a big
Leopard.
clover
Oh,
fan, but I think that was for nitrogen.
Yeah, well that's right. It does. Well, it captures atmospheric nitrogen and then puts it back into the soil. So it's really good, and especially for grazing animals and things like that. It's wonderful forage. It's a really important element of herbage in a pasture.
Right, we better see the nesting boxes next week then, because the show's over now, Rich.
Oh, is it?
Because you've been roaming in the gloaming.
We didn't get as far as we'd hoped.
Let's just get to the pond and end.
Shall we?
Yeah,
I've
come
not seen
on.
the pond for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this patch is looking brilliant as well now, isn't it?
See, I've been weeding
Some of those willows are
with my hoe,
quite
so
yeah.
so I've only kept the paths clear.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Of these
Well,
willows,
I suppose that was the intention originally when it was built, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This garden. So
what do you think about these willows? There's too many.
they're too shading the pond, aren't they?
Yeah.
They need to come out of the equation.
What, all of them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would probably take them all out now because apart from this one here, which is on our left of the path, because that is going to shade the pond sufficiently on this one end. And really, if you look at the pond, I mean, obviously the ducks have been in here, kind of muddying it up as well.
Yeah,
but
the
a lot of the
ducks are in here all the
oxygenator
time.
has disappeared.
Right.
Because
It's too cold.
it's too
is it?
shady. Yeah, there's not
yeah.
enough light. And in fact, the reality is that the ducks will spend more time on here because now it's a lot more secluded and sheltered, and it's a place where they feel comfortable. So if it's more open. I mean, that's obviously, it's not always the case, but if it is more open, then generally speaking, they'll spend less time here. And the other unfortunate thing is there's a whole load of that New Zealand
we always
stone
have
crop. That goes mad, though. I cleaned a little pond out at home. I took it all out and composted the whole lot. There's very little in the pond at all this year. I thought, well, that's it, I'm going to have to take everything out. And I picked every little thread off the roots from the flag iris and the reed mace and things like that to try and get rid of it, because it just takes over. It darkens the whole space off.
So, chainsaw, is it?
I think it is. It's probably
Later
willow,
in
of
the
course,
year.
it'll keep coming back. Yeah, sort of autumn time. But there's a bit of firewood in those, There's some loggage in those trees now. Some of those have got to be at least 4-inch diameter, haven't they? 4 or 5 inch. So, yeah, a bit of loggage there. Willow will keep coming back.
Oh.
But equally, what you could do is leave it and then maybe just cut the little stems early in the year for the bouquets. That would work.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're self-seed as well, aren't they, all these?
Yeah, they're huge.
They are. They've got to be 3 times my height and, 10 times yours?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Come along, Richard, let's end. Off we go, roaming in the effing gloaming. Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
see you. Nice. Farmer Phil will be so sad to miss
He
you.
will, yeah,
oh,
won't
he will.
he? He will.
Let's go to the freezer and get your beef.
Cheers,
What do you want?
Phil. The biggest piece that you've got in there, Phil.